It says in Romans 7, verse 7, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? Certainly not. On the contrary, I would not have known sin except through the law. For I would not have known covetousness unless the law had said, you shall not covet. Is this law that Paul is speaking about, the Ten Commandments? Of course, he's quoting, thou shalt not covet. Now notice verse 8. But sin, taking opportunity by what? By the commandment, produced in me all manner of evil desire, for apart from the law, sin was dead. I was alive once without the law, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. And the commandment, which was to bring life, I found to bring death. For sin, taken occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it killed me. Therefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. Does the Apostle Paul use the word law and commandment to refer to the commandment that says, thou shalt not covet? He most certainly does. Notice James chapter 2 and verses 10 through 12. You won't have this verse on your list. I added it afterwards. James 2 verses 10 and 11. Listen carefully to what it says. For whoever shall keep the whole law, that's a parallel expression, keep the commandments, keep the whole law, and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all. Now, what law is Paul talking about here when he says keep or James, when he says keep the whole law? For he who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not what? Do not murder. Are those two of the Ten Commandments? Most certainly. Now, if you do not commit adultery, but you murder, you have become a transgressor of what? Of the law. So what does it mean to keep the law or to keep the commandments? It means to keep the 10 commandments according to the New Testament. Now somebody might say, well, Pastor Bor, but are the words law and commandments used interchangeably in the New Testament? And I'm trying to make a point here. We're going to come to something very important. And what I want to show you is that in the New Testament, the word law and the word commandment or commandments are used interchangeably. Notice Exodus 16 and verse 28. Exodus 16 and verse 28. It says here, and the Lord said to Moses, this is speaking about the manna episode where God wanted to teach the observance of the Sabbath. And the Lord said to Moses, how long do you refuse to keep my what? Commandments and my laws. Notice Exodus 24 and verse 12. Exodus 24 and verse 12. Once again, interchangeable commandments and law. It says in verse 12, then the Lord said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and be there, and I will give you tablets of stone. And the law and what? And commandments which I have written. What was the only thing in the Bible that God wrote himself? It was the 10 Commandments. So are the words law and commandments used synonymously in this verse? Yes. It says, and I will give you tablets of stone and the law and commandments which I have written that you may teach them. In fact, we find in Deuteronomy 4 verse 13 that God gave the 10 Commandments. Notice what it says there. So he declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform. And the covenant, it says, the 10 Commandments, and he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. So it says here that God wrote the 10 Commandments with his own finger on tables of stone. But I want you to notice that Deuteronomy 33 verse 2 says that God didn't give the 10 Commandments, although he did, but it says rather he gave a fiery law. So commandments and law are interchangeable. Notice Deuteronomy 33 and verse 2. The Lord came from Sinai and dawned on them from Seir.